Honestly, thank God not everything has gone as planned, and practically nothing has gone as planned in my life. Because if it was on my plan, I would not have the wisdom and the insight and the godlike mindset that I do today so that I can maneuver through life with utmost confidence and competence and really just this zest and vigor for life. If it weren't for my mistakes, I wouldn't have the knowledge that I do today. And of course, some of those mistakes were not necessary, but thank God for those mistakes. I think that many people want to act as if when they've got things figured out, like, oh, that's just the way that it is. My way is the way that it is. I don't think that way at all. I'm very fluid. Like the way that I see life is very fluid. I can look at this book here, right? I can look at this book and I can see and know that it's a book, but I can also feel my sense of self. I can also look at this glass of water and I know that it's a glass of water, right? But I don't need to label things. I don't need to label everything. I can look at things without trying to name them. And this is something that I think many people are incapable of. They're always trying to think and they don't even know that they're trying to think. And it gets in a cycle to where they believe that they're the author of their own thoughts, but in reality, they're living on a timeline that somebody else programmed them into. Because at the end of the day, you're either living on your own timeline in timelessness, or you are being on a program and on a timeline that somebody else has tried to force you into or has destiny swapped you into. And a few people have asked me to go into further detail about destiny swapping recently. And the best way to think about it is just a hijacking of your timeline. Because think about this, right? Think about when somebody tries to screw you over, let's say in business or finance, or maybe somebody betrays you, right? What they're doing is they are literally and intentionally hijacking the future you from yourself. And you were silly enough to believe them, right? Now maybe you knew that you were going to be betrayed by them, but that's depending on how you look at it. It's kind of, depending on who you are and what you're doing and why you're doing it, it's kind of silly to let somebody betray you. But strategically, if it brings about a better plan, then maybe it's for the best. But otherwise, it's really not conducive toward a probable state of existence to let people hijack your timeline. And I've been scammed so many times before, and I thought about this in regard to business as well as relationships. And with women, I thought I would be married by now. I definitely thought I would be married by now. And I thought I would have a family by now. And it's not that I'm nowhere near close to that, but at the same time, it's like I'm nowhere near close to that. Because I've often wondered, is it me? Is this really my fault that I don't have a family? And you could say that I'm the common denominator, sure. But think about this, right? I'm living on my own timeline. I'm living as a sovereign man as much as possible and as much as he can be, while continually to invest in himself and in things and meaningful things that matter. Like, I don't spend my time, I invest my time. And you can think about as investing time into your timeline, because the more that you'll do in that timeline, the less you have to wait, right, for another timeline to present itself. And you can activate new timelines that are going to be more profitable, not only for you maybe financially, but also for your spirit otherwise. But the thing is that the more I grow in myself, the more I think about this verse that Jesus Christ talks about, where he says that when you're in the kingdom of heaven, marriage is basically going to be just it's not going to be relevant when you're in the kingdom of heaven. And I've thought a lot about that recently, because if you can think about the kingdom of heaven Because the kingdom of God and the kingdom of heaven, I don't think are the same place. I don't think they're necessarily the same place at all. Now, you can see it as two different ways, but, that's another topic for another video. But the way that I see it is that when I am in the kingdom of God, which is inside myself and inside you, it's within us all. We're all a part of God, but we're not God. So yes, we are God, but we're not God. It's the paradox, right? And the closer you are to paradoxes, the closer you are to the truth usually. And the thing is that I think that there's a lot of people who are consumed by external probabilities, and they're trying to compress timelines outside of themselves that they don't see how that timeline can be compressed inside themselves. And so I've gotten to the point now to where I don't need a woman. I want one, but I don't need them. I don't need, and women are the complete opposite. They have to understand that they need a man. And many of these women just don't feel like they need a man. And I look at the content that's out there for women and for men. Like all these couples that are making jokes, it's basically a humiliation ritual for the man. Have you seen this? Have you noticed this? I mean, there was an Instagram reel that I saw recently, and it had a guy and his wife, and the wife was there like doing dancing and ha ha ha, and it was like, I don't need a man, I'm this independent and I don't need nobody. And then the thing is that the guy then had like, his part in the Instagram reel or TikTok or whatever. And he said, hi, I'm nobody and I'm the one that pays for everything and doesn't get any appreciation. Ha ha ha. And they like made a laughing joke about it. And I thought to myself, like, why are we normalizing this? If this is normal and this is what is expected of life as a man nowadays, then thank God I'm not a part of that. Thank God that I'm not on that timeline, because that's a fake timeline. They are literally inflating themselves. They are simply the inflation, like in finance terms, but for their spirituality. They're basically using fiat for their own spirits, thinking that they're going to be on a real timeline when in reality they're just prolonging their suffering. This is why you have to confront reality as it is right before you. It's the same thing that goes for business, right? I've seen a lot of people in business, like I've worked with companies and people in the past where their biggest concern is making the logo look pretty or making the website look pretty. And I have a background in digital marketing, right? So I'm a copywriter and I can do all these different types of things when it comes to digital marketing. And one thing that I've seen time and time again is people are so focused on like the little things when they're not making any money. It's like, no. You just need volume at that point. You need more volume. You just need more. You don't need things to look great. You just need to put out more and figure it out along the way. Again, the more you do in a certain timeline, if you're trying to get off that timeline and into a new timeline, the more that you do, you're going to get closer to a better timeline. Now, of course, don't be stupid about it. Don't be doing more idiotic stuff, but you have to do more of whatever's working. And the thing is like making things look pretty, being a perfectionist about it isn't going to work. And I think that that's one of the other reasons why a lot of people are either approaching 30 or in their 30s or in their 40s or who knows, maybe they're in their 70s and nothing's worked out the way that they thought it would. And I think that a lot of people can relate to this video because I'm sure that you felt this. Like, we are constantly gaslit as a society, and especially as men. We're told as men that if we are actually just men, if we take control of our own direction in life, and we treat our women in relationships like we don't need them. We want them, but we don't need them. All of a sudden, we're the bad guys. And we're considered evil and toxic and all these other things and all that crap. Like, everybody knows this, right? Everybody knows that that's the narrative right now. And I have literally seen in the workplace where me standing up for myself gets me in trouble. And because they don't expect men to stand up for themselves. And when you demonstrate your competence as a man, oh, it's like, oh, you're evil. You're evil. If you demonstrate competence and results and you don't allow the manipulation or the narrative to be manipulated, then, and you just stand on your square, people hate you for it. They respect you for it, but they can hate you for it. And I've seen this so many times in the workplace that it's just annoying. You know, it's annoying that we have to deal with this kind of stuff. I understand it, but that doesn't mean that it's not annoying. You know, and I've let go. I've gotten to the point to where I just don't care too much anymore. Like, it's not that I don't care about people, it's just I don't care what they think. I care about people, but I don't care what they think about me or why. And I'm more interested in actually trying to talk about ideas and solutions. I don't see problems anymore. Like, I see them, but I see solutions to those problems. Like, I don't have any problem with people that have problems. In fact, like, that's literally my job for also with what I do with Regal Change and Regal Change Academy. Like, with my Godlike Master Initiation program, I give people who are having the financial side of their life set and they're ready for some kind of big transformation internally because now they have the time to do so. That's for them. And then I have my general one-on-ones. I have all of my services for Regal Change are directed at solving problems for certain types of people, all catering toward the spiritual revolutionizing of the individual. So with the one-on-ones, it's more generalized. It depends on the person. And then obviously with the Regal Change Academy, that's a university and church replacement option. So people who want that sense of community that maybe don't have it, that's where they go. So each service that I have, and I don't make it too complicated, right? I don't make it too complicated. There's this for this person, there's this for that person, and there's that for this person. That's it. I don't make it too complex because a lot of people want life to be so complex. And I think that's one of the other reasons why so many people see life panning out in a way that they didn't see coming, is because they try to overcomplicate things. And they think simplicity means that you're stupid. And it's like, no. It depends on what you're doing and what you're talking about and why you're talking about it. Because sometimes I have to portray ideas to you, for example. I have to portray ideas to you in a way that is simple enough for anybody to understand, because I have multicultural and multinational audiences. Like, people that watch my channel are from all over the world. So I have to be able to simplify ideas to the point in which you can understand no matter who you are. And I'm speaking to the spirit within you. I'm speaking to spirit itself, God himself within you. But I can't always do that in a highly intellectual way. Like, I just can't. Like, for my book, for example, this book, I go very, very intellectual, and I treat intellectualism as an art. I become an intellectualist. I'm no longer an ism. I'm an ist. I am embodying my own ideals through the text and through life, right? Like, through life, that's exactly what I do as well. I embody things through life. And that's another way and another reason why nothing panned out the way I thought it would, is because when you actually embody your principles, you don't try to just force them onto other people. Things happen. You live an adventure, man. Like, you live a life full of adventure. And yeah, you're going to need active rest sometimes. Don't want to overlook that, because I used to believe, like, no, I have to work as much as I can, as often as I can. And now I don't do that at all. I have about 4 to 8 hours a day where I'm doing really in-depth work. But then those other times I'm doing work, but I'm not doing it in the sense of it's going to take so much thought process to do these things. I just focus on what I need to focus on really hardcore for like 4 to 8 hours a day. And then the other 4 hours that I'm working, I'm doing things that are not necessarily monotonous, but more like part of my system. Like I have a system in which I do things each day. And I have things that I need to do each day that are a bare minimum. For example, something that I advocate for everybody is to do something intellectual, something spiritual, something physical, and something that is going to be creative for you each and every day. If you're not doing those things each and every day in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just going on a walk, okay, for the physical, just going on a walk, getting some sunlight, maybe sun gazing a bit. I've been sun gazing so much recently, and man, oh man, it's been life changing. Like it's been great. It feels as though I'm channeling and moving toward more light in my lightliness, and it's just so blissful. You know, I am so full of confidence and inspiration for the future that the past, yeah, the past can hurt. But it's like Rafiki says in The Lion King. He's like, ah, yes, the past can hurt. But you can either run from it or learn from it. And that's exactly what I choose to do. I choose to learn from it. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've lost, like, within the last few years, I've been stolen from. I've had people give me contracts that were completely ridiculous on like legalized paper, right? Like when you look at it from a legal perspective, they basically allowed themselves to manipulate my finances for a certain duration of time. And when I picked up on it after a couple weeks, I was like, wait a second, this is not what I thought it was. I don't want this anymore. And this is where I want out, because the way that they explained it to me was that I was going to do this a certain way and all that is a whole thing. But the point is that you have to be very careful with people that want you to sign things. People that want you to sign contracts and such, that's a bunch of BS, man. Some of these people out there, they are so conniving, man. I am very, very hesitant to sign anything at all anymore, because I want to make sure I read it like a lawyer, because I know what's happened in the past when I don't read things thoroughly like a lawyer. When I don't read through things thoroughly like a lawyer, I'm going to take advantage of. I'm going to be taken advantage of, rather. And that's just the way that things work in this life. People want to control you. They want to control your timeline, right? If they can't influence your timeline, they're going to try to control it. And if they can't control your timeline, they're going to try to destroy you. And they're going to try to destroy your timeline. And that's exactly what narcissists do, right? Like that's the whole smear campaign. When the narcissists realize that you are uncontrollable and you are untamable and that you are free and that you have empathy and compassion and you see them exactly for who they are, ooh, be wary, because that's exactly when they're going to try to destroy your timeline. And they are going to pose as friends, but they're going to be real spies. Like that's even a law in the 48 Laws of Power, is pose as a friend but act as a spy or something like that, right? Look, that's true. People that are evil do that sometimes, okay? People that are... I don't think Robert Greene was saying this is how to be evil. He was saying this is how people can take advantage of you, so watch out. And I wish I read the 48 Laws of Power sooner than I did, because that's, again, something else I would have thought about and seen as a way to actually live deeper and more meaningfully, is that there are people at every single point in turn of your life. They are literally crabs in a bucket. So many of these people out here who claim to want to be better, they just say these things. They just say them. They don't have the results to actually do anything about it. They want to stay the same, because there's a timeline living through them. And if the timeline dies, then their identity through the timeline dies, and now they have to recultivate their own identity. They literally have to kill their timeline in order for them to see the truth about their life. And they can't do that. Not everybody can do that. But that's why it's so important. And that's really what the ego is to some degree, is a timeline. Huh. Whoa. I just barely thought about that. Yeah, I guess the ego is technically a timeline. And that's why the ego is the true will of God. That's what Carl Jung says in this book, Modern Man in Search for the Soul. And Carl Jung described it, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would the ego be a true will of God? Well, because in order to have timelessness in the way in which is not evil, and that's actually meaningful and good, you have to have a sense of timeline in order to experience timelessness. And so when you have that timelessness, whoa, I'm having like a revelation right now with narcissism as well, because with narcissists, that explains why narcissists are in timelessness, but not in a good way. Like, they're in timelessness, but they're not in timelessness in a good way. They are completely taking advantage of other people. They don't believe, because cause and effect only exists in the timelines. Cause and effect doesn't exist in timelessness. And in order for there to be timelessness in the good sense, you have to not have an understanding of cause and effect, but you have to also understand that there is no cause to have an effect in timelessness. There just is in timelessness. Whoa. That's cool. That's interesting, huh? Yeah, well, I'm learning as I'm like speaking here, so I'm just talking through my thoughts, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, this is why you can't really design life like a building, right? Like, you can't design life like an architect. You can be an architect of your own life, and you can have certain thought algorithms to create certain timelines, but you're not going to be able to really fully and deeply understand the meaning of life without understanding the healthy version of having an ego and being able also to let that ego die when necessary. So things are really good, overall. Like, I'm very blessed to be able to live the life that I am, and I wouldn't choose anything else at this moment. If I could do what I do now at full scale all the time, I would. Absolutely. And that's what I'm aiming to do, right? Like, my thought algorithms are catering toward creating this as a reality. But I also know that I'm on a timeline. I'm operating from a sense of timelessness internally, but I am not timelessness. I am not timelessness. I am the thing that operates through timelessness. I'm the experiencer and the experiencee of timelessness simultaneously. But I have to operate on a timeline, which is my life. Like, my life will end someday. And thank God for that, honestly, because it's not that I'm like suicidal at all, because I love life. Life is very beautiful, but I'm not eager to keep living in this hellhole. It's just not. I'm just not. But anyways, I hope that this video was useful and insightful for you. I hope you all have a blessed rest of your day. Stay blessed, peace, and until next time.